on work clothes.
I like that.
It's not just about looking good on Zoom. There's something about wearing a uniform. And it's not so much important that it's a work uniform, but it's a productivity uniform. Think about this. When you go to bed, you put on your pajamas. That's actually a productivity uniform for sleeping. In the same way, when you get ready for work, put on your productivity uniform for working. It helps you get into the brain set of being productive at this, at working, at writing papers, or whatever it is that you're doing. It's your productivity uniform, right? So put on your work clothes. Don't skimp out on that. Don't skip it. That actually matters. So that's number one. Number two, make sure that you're not using the same space. Obviously, sometimes you can't help it, but make sure you're not using the same space that you use to eat and play when you're working. So if you're working from home, maybe don't put your laptop in the kitchen. Set up a little side table, put it in the corner somewhere so that you can set up in a space that's specific only for work. So now you're wearing your work uniform, your productivity uniform, and you're set up in a place that you don't use for anything else except work. And I know not everybody has that option, but if you do, try to use it. Those two things are going to make a really big difference.
Right. It sure does. And it's making a real difference for me.
Oh, cool. You do those too. Yeah.
Sure, I do. I do that consciously. It's a conscious effort. Thank you for that brilliant insight, Lucas. Yeah. So is that the way a person can identify and manage business risk?
That's a very big question. We are actually risk identifying machines as humans. Like that's one of the things that we do really well as an animal. It's completely biology. It's coded into us to identify risk, right? If you don't pay attention to the risks, if you don't identify them, then you don't survive, right? A lion manages to sneak up on you and tackle you from behind. Like, this is the way the world works. So we're actually really good at identifying risks. The challenge for us is getting grounded, getting centered, having a clear mind so that we can actually pay attention to the risks that are out there, because we're good at identifying them. So step one is get a clear mind and use the same tools and techniques that we've already talked about in this call. Make sure that you take a break, make sure that you take walks, make sure that you are properly hydrated, put on your productivity uniform. Those things are going to help you clear your mind from distractions. And that helps us to see the risks that we're going to have to deal with. Number two, write them down, make a list. Our brain actually is not very good at making lists. We all think we're good at it. We're like, no, I'll remember it. It's good. Don't try to remember it. Just write it down. So we're great at seeing the risks. We're not great at remembering them. So write them down. Number three, again, going back to what we're great at, we're actually really, really good at guessing how things are going to happen. We're really good at it. Part of that is because, as an animal, we had to throw spears and shoot arrows. And in order for us to be good at throwing a spear and surviving, right, because you got to hit the animal sometimes to be able to eat and live, we had to be really good at guessing how it's going to fly. We are surprisingly good at this. So once you've got the risks written down, again, clear your brain, make sure that you have a clear brain, you have no distractions, you're focused on the task at hand. Just spend some time thinking about how those risks are going to play, what's going to happen. Write it down. Once you can see how each of the risks that are coming might play out, then you can make plans that avoid that. It seems simple, and it really is if you're good at getting a clear brain and writing things down. I keep saying writing things down. Nobody is good at this, including me. Like, I have to remind myself to write things down.
Right. Beautiful. Lucas, do you have any projects in the pipeline?
Say again?
Do you have any projects in the pipeline?
Oh, I do. I have some projects.
Right.
I have some fun things.
All right.
Believe it or not, I'm involved in a not-for-profit that's raising money to solve breast cancer. Love it. Very close to my heart. I would love to see women have less breast cancer and maybe even none at all. Like that's really powerful. I'm also working on some for-profit stuff that has to do with hemp in the world. I don't know if that's starting to get big, but I'm working on some hemp projects. I would really like to see better building materials that are, less damaging to the earth for us to use and easier to put together. So I'm working on some hemp projects. And of course, I'm going to continue working with the Pokemon Company because I've been having a lot of fun with them, and that's going to keep being fun.
Yeah. Great. Keep at it.
Thank you.
Wish you best of luck in all the projects. Lucas? All right. Do you have any parting word you'd like to share?
I loved this conversation. Thank you so much. I think that people who are looking to be productive, the number one thing they can do really is pay attention to what you're doing. Write down what you're doing, and then decide whether or not the things that you're doing are working well for you.
Brilliant.
Really, I mean, it's weird, but like self-reflection, paying attention to what you're doing, it is so big. And writing it down.
Right. Invariably, you're trying to tell us to live in the conscious, right?
Yes, very much.
That's very important.
Yep.
Thank you for that. We'd like to have your website and your social media connections, if any.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So best place to find me is my website, lucasroot.com. And then Instagram, I'm very active there. I'm at Luke Root, LUCROOT, at Luke Root.
All right. I'm active there also. So I'm going to look around for you.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Lucas, I really had a blast on today's show. Thank you for that enlightenment. Thank you for inspiring and insight on today's topic, especially productivity and working from home. Right. I can only wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Right.
Thank you so much. You too. This was great.
All right, great. Thank you for joining me on this show. Remember, if you want to catch up with any of my missed episodes, go online and search for Life by Omobola Stephen on any podcast distribution platforms. And I guarantee you that you're going to have a blast, right? Listen to the show. And if you want to connect with me, just mail me at omobolasteven@outlook.com. I need you to stay safe. With all my love, I talk to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Away tonight, we'll go a different way.